Förflabonga, mantrot ägubbe. With Dale and Tony breaking all the rules. Talking tech, biz, and straight up chaos. Quick fire guests, oh yeah, we slay those.
Good afternoon. This is Flabonga Montrot the Cube. I am Dale Rodriguez, and with me today I've got an awesome guest by the name of
Sam Green.
What up, Sam? How's it going?
Yeah, good, thank you, buddy. Yeah, lovely to see you. How are you?
I'm happy to see you because you're one of the rare few people who've watched this show properly and listened thoroughly before becoming a guest, like a long-time friend of the show.
Yeah, this is a what do they say on James O'Brien? It's a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yeah. So you know what to expect. You know my patent interruption won't work on you. It's just going to be light and breezy.
Yeah, I'm just using this with Tony not being with us. I'm using this as a pitch to be Tony's replacement in the future when you look for a younger model.
One, I love how you assume you're younger. Two, 60 seconds in, you're like, I'm gonna replace Tony. That's a gangster. I like it. Cutthroat. That's it. Let's wrap it up. That's the only clip we need.
Yeah,
Sam is the new Tony. Does anyone ever call you Samuel?
Yes, probably my mum when I'm in trouble usually. So yeah, and then I realized the other day that I was Samuel on LinkedIn and changed it to Sam because I was like, yeah, I'm a much more approachable person than a Samuel suggests. I think.
I mean, it's a good strong name. I can't remember what it means. It's a name with meaning, isn't it? Like
yeah, it's some
name, right?
Thing going on. I'm sure it had meaning when my mum and dad came up with it.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, thank you for being here. I always thank guests who come on. Sometimes I forget, but I genuinely mean it because you're a busy person, taking time out of your day to come chat business / nonsense / funny things with me. So hopefully the rest of our viewers find it entertaining, and hopefully people who are listening or viewing later will get some insights. So the first question I have to ask you, right, is a really simple one. What does RQ, the company you work for, Romeo Quebec, what does that stand for?
I wondered if this would come up at some point, and we do try and get people to guess often when we're on calls with them just to see what they come up with, and we get all sorts. But I'm led to believe by our CEO founder that it's referrals quotient was the
referrals quotient,
which is fancy, and you can probably see quickly why it became RQ to sound a little bit.
As someone who likes ridiculous words, like in the promo for this video, I use the word salubrious. So yeah. I like ridiculous word. Quotient is that's next level.
Yeah, I think you need to try and get that into one of your future posts.
Quotient. I don't even know what it means.
It means a kind of an amount, doesn't it? It's kind of generating an amount, something along those lines.
Now, if I've understood correctly, referrals quotient, RQ for short, is a referrals platform / system aimed for bookkeeping and bookkeeping and accounting practices specifically. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's always the best way to look at it, in the sense of, we were built in partnership with the ICAW, so those accountants, bookkeepers are always going to be kind of the top of who we work with. But I think what's been really cool about the platform is, as we've developed over time, we've started speaking with further professional services. So, whether that's wealth management, IFAs, solicitors, who all see value in the platform. So, I think our bread and butter and our core is always going to be that accountants and bookkeepers, but it's really cool to see when we get approached by those wider services who are looking at how they can utilize that referral kind of system, really.
How wide do you go? Like, what's the most obscure vertical you've worked with?
You know what? Because we get accountants add their network onto the platform, you see all sorts on there. I think I saw like a car hire one.
Okay.
Which was quite cool. Again, you see ones and you go, it's peculiar, but you can see why it might be a thing for them.
All right, can I ask you a really dumb / mean question, especially on a live? Okay.
Yeah, we should get this out of the way early, I think.
What does it do, and why do I want it as a bookkeeper and accountant? Why am I going to spend money on another SaaS subscription? I assume it's SaaS subscription. They're all SaaS subscriptions. Why would I spend money on this? What does it do for me? How does it help me?
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. I think what we are seeing effectively, especially with accountants, bookkeepers, is referrals haven't really changed since the internet came in, right? So you've got a referral to make to one of your referral partners. It might be that you email them, it might be that you phone them, it might be that you maybe WhatsApp them now, which is fine. well, I say it's fine, it's not fine, but because
Eh.
effectively what that completely then takes away is, one you've got to be looking at the compliance side of it. So your regulator is going to be looking at client consent, disclosure of fees, due diligence on what that client is receiving. Is there money involved? Is there any form of compensation? So effectively, RQ is the software that enables you to track all of that simultaneously. And I think the difficulty that we had early on, of course, is, well, how do you make something quicker than an email? It's that's the
They're
ultimate.
pretty instantaneous, yeah.
So that's really where we've gone down the route of, we've got our Outlook add-in in there now, where effectively it can log it through your email that you're sending, pull that into the software, and you can then track and monitor where each individual referral is up to. So why would you want it from an accountant perspective? Well, from a compliance perspective, you're going to want to look at it. From an efficiency perspective, you're going to want to look at it. But ultimately, that's then going to drive your data decisions in terms of, we've now got all of this data saying how many referrals we're making, where they're going, why we're referring them. How can we then use that to better the service that we're offering to our clients?
Okay. I'm not sure if I should ask you a silly question or more serious questions, because I'm genuinely intrigued about your product. I think it has multiple uses, and I think it's a really good product for the industry. And no, RQ have not paid me to say that. I'm just saying that because that's what I've seen of it. So is RQ a CRM, or is it something that can link to a CRM?
No, and again, we get asked this question a lot, because I think it absolutely has CRM features in terms of naturally how it has to process, but it's very much to complement a CRM system to integrate into those CRMs. You do hear more and more accountants now are using CRMs, but I think, and we do hear them sometimes say, we use a CRM for this, we can track this, but really with that, CRMs haven't been designed they've been designed for clients, not for interfirm introductions effectively. So you can never truly get that data that you would like out of that CRM, because it's just not been built for that effectively. So really for us, we integrate into that CRM and allow them to then get the data to then say, right, this can now pull into our workflows or into our sales lines, wherever they want that to go, but effectively it's still its own entity.
Cool. Do you think I've asked you enough leading questions to make your boss and or your investors happy?
I'll see. I'll keep an eye on my Slack channel and see if I'm getting any abuse from them.
I mean, I made the bold presumption that they're watching this. They're probably not. They've got better things to do. Also it's lunchtime. They might be eating.
Yes.
Okay. I'll ask you the patented question, one of the original FM questions. Sam, if you were a biscuit, what kind of biscuit would you be that actually portrays your personality and why, but don't just pick your favorite biscuit?
Yeah, it's a good and fair question.
It's a terrible question.
No, I've come across a biscuit recently which I actually think aligns with me, and it is a malted milk but with chocolate on it. And it is in my opinion, a next level biscuit, because it's not fancy pants, it's not kind of all singing, all dancing. The malted milk did a job on its own, and they've said, you know what, let's just add a thin layer of chocolate there just to keep people interested. And that's probably myself, a solid, fine enough biscuit with a little cheekiness added in there just to try and keep people interested occasionally.
First of all, I didn't know that biscuit existed. It does sound S tier for sure. What's so cheeky about you?
Oh, just
what cheeky things do you do, Sam?
Oh, I'm just a cheeky man. I was going to go with the Theresa May run through fields of wheat answer. But,
okay. No, she said that because I think she grew up in a rural area. Are you from the rural, or are you suburbs, or are you urban, bruv? You get me?
No, kind of city originally, kind of Derby, kind of born and bred for my first 18 years. So Midlands boy, and then did the classic, moved away to university, so moved to Sheffield, where we've got that a bit more of a hybrid city country.
Sheffield's a dope city. I've been there. It's great.
It's I genuinely call it the greatest city on earth, and people think I'm being a bit tongue-in-cheek, but I have a genuine belief in this. And I know this is, it could be one of the questions that you ask in the future about, what's your favorite city, but Sheffield is up there for me.
I've had some good times in Sheffield, honestly. First of all, everyone's really friendly. Drinks are kind of cheap. Happy for that. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot of restaurants, a lot of what's the word? Variety going on. So no, I think it's a great city. Sorry. I was going to ask you a question. I completely lost my train of thought.
I shocked you with the Sheffield is the best city on earth. And
I was just going to make a statement. Now that I know you're a proper Midlands lad as well, you could definitely replace Tony. Midlands, both kind of tall. How tall are you?
6'5". So
so similar height to Tony. He's an absolute unit though, right?
Oh no, I've met him in person. He would, he would, trouble me if he decided to get physical on me replacing him. I think
He destroyed most people. The best thing is, right, here's the thing. He's a big guy, right? Like I think he's like 6'4". He's easily like 110, 120 kilos in shape, right? And he almost set the world record for the number of burpees in a minute.
I don't
I
need
know
that.
he doesn't tell anybody. I think I discovered it like 2 years ago when he was a guest on FM. But like he's done that level of physicality, which is
I
insane
think
because he's
I could do number of burps in a minute, but not burpees. I think that'd be
yeah.
where we set ourselves apart, probably.
Because like all my Jimbo friends and all my PT friends, like everyone agrees that burpee is one of the most difficult, intense cardiovascular exercises. Like it kills everybody, no matter how in shape you are. It hurts almost everyone.
Yeah,
So
I didn't need to know that about him because I'm even more intimidated than I previously was.
he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. Going to jump to the comments real quick. Mark Cowison, the author of the FM jingle. I don't know who owns it, by the way, because he did the prompts. Then he used AI, and I think under UK legislation, whoever does the prompts own it. But then he kind of gave it to me and Tony. So, if it goes, viral, we'll just not pay him anything. Mark Cowison, myself in a biscuit, a party ring which is colourful, playful, and bring the good vibes to any gathering. That is the best blind date answer I've ever heard. Thank you, Mark. And I realize there's a whole generation of people younger than me who have no idea what blind date is. They won't know Cilla Black.
You're not brought that back recently. They've been doing all this kind of bringing back the old school TV shows, haven't they, and game shows?
Like Gladiators. Yeah. Okay, so if you don't mind asking, how old are you, Sam?
I'm 30. I actually get this wrong all the time. I'm 33 because I just never think about my age. I'm 34 in 4 days' time.
Okay, so 4 days time. Happy birthday!
Thank you very much.
So that means you are old enough to remember the original Gladiators, right? Like the Gladiators.
Correct. Yeah. And the new Gladiators is actually filmed in Sheffield. So we've another reason why Sheffield is phenomenal, clearly.
Well, I was going to ask, if you remember the old Gladiators, which one did you fancy the most?
Oh, what a great question. Was it Jet? Jet was
pretty, everybody says Jet.
Obviously there's Lightning. Is it Lightning goes without saying? But I think Jet's
they're all very, very pretty ladies.
And obviously Wolf. We have to throw Wolf in there.
Man was hot.
Yeah, he had it going on.
Yeah. Again, Mark, bigging up Sheffield. Mark Howison, after a weekend in Sheffield, even my expense report looked like it was having a good time. Fantastic. It's a good city. Honestly, people should go there. And Kirsty St. John, CMICBACCPMDIP. Bare letters by your name. She says, hi, everyone. She's a fan of the show, and she's going to be coming on like in November time. Because people don't know this, but this show is fully booked for weeks/months.
I went on when you sent me the booking link, and I snuck on this week because I knew it was quite with the bank holiday. But I think through to like December.
Yeah, December time, we're fully booked. Sometimes people drop out, hence why you've managed to get in. But we're fully booked. All right, time for a silly question. You know this one already, Sam. If you could punch one fictional character in the face and get away with it, no repercussions, no judgment, who would it be?
Yeah, I've had a bit of time to think about this because obviously haven't seen the show a fair few times, and I'm an avid Tarantino fan from a movie point of view. So there are a couple that came to mind. Obviously, Hans Lander from Inglourious Bastards is just such a fantastic villain. I think actually being able to give him a
justifiable one. Yep. No one's going to disagree with that. Yep.
And then the second one, in line with the Tarantino vibes, is Calvin Candy, Leonardo DiCaprio's character from Django Unchained, who I think is just a fantastic villain.
You've picked some really good ones. Neither of those are controversial. Everyone's like, yeah, I could see why you'd want to punch that kind of character in the face. Because, we've had ridiculous ones, right, where people are like, I want to punch Mickey Mouse. I'm like, calm down.
Yeah, it's like, leave Mickey out of this. Walt Disney... Yeah. Go at him, but Mickey's an innocent bystander in this Disney corporation.
Do you want to hear mine?
I absolutely do.
It's kind of messed up as well, I would punch Stewie Griffin from Family Guy. Because realistically, I can't say I'd punch a baby because that's ridiculous, but he's a fictional character.
Yeah, so you're fine.
Because his smugness is just annoying.
Yeah, but then he's smug, but then because he's super smart, he can build time machines and stuff. So he's got a reason for his smugness, right?
And again, if I could get away with it without him, the repercussions of him destroying me, because he would destroy me with his intelligence. Okay, so what is it you like most about working in the bookkeeping/accounting space?
Yeah, it's what I kind of fell into this space. I know everybody kind of says they fall into either being an accountant, being a bookkeeper, or working in the accounting space, and very true with myself. But I think what's amazing about it is the community. I think I think from the outside looking in, people have a certain maybe point of view on what the accountancy world is like and what's going on. But I think when you actually get under the surface of it and get to know people and make an effort to get to know people, I think the innovation that's there and that people are trying to achieve, the personalities that are in the accounting world, it's just a really lovely, inclusive place to be, which is, really all that you want, isn't it? When you're working in a sector and in an industry, you want to have that feeling of belonging.
That is a really great answer.
Thank you.
I kind of want to tangent a little bit though.
That's fine. Please challenge away.
I'm inclined to agree, but would you also agree there has been a little bit of friction over maybe the last 5 years between fintech vendors / suppliers and accountants and bookkeepers? Would you say that's a fair statement to make?
No, I absolutely would, and I think I've always had the feeling. I think when you come into this accountancy world, that you almost have to you have to buy into it. It's important, I think, to accountants and bookkeepers that you're almost investing in the space. You're showing that you want to be there. Whether you're at these kind of big shows that go on now, whether you're making an effort. But I think as well, sometimes vendors come into the space and try and kind of tell rather than maybe learn, about kind of the past, what's gone on, what the future, what's to look like. And I think accountants and bookkeepers simply want to be involved in that conversation, as they should, because it's their firms and companies that will be the ones guiding it. But I would agree with that. It's I was at Employment Hero before I was at RQ, and we were obviously in the HR payroll world, and that was very crowded in there. It was a lot more difficult to have those conversations in terms of where that was being guided by. So I've absolutely experienced it in that regard. But what you hope is that, especially on the vendor side, that they learn from those from those mistakes, and some do, some don't ultimately.
Okay, we're going to zoom in a little bit because I want to ask you a secret sauce kind of question. How do you balance the pace of fintech / SaaS and building relationships with accountants and bookkeepers? And let me add some substance to this kind of question. I think the observation I've seen is like SaaS models are usually scalable, repeatable, quick growth, 5-year plan, boom, let's go. That doesn't seem to work in the accounting space. So you've got the challenge of having to scale rapidly with collaborators that don't scale rapidly, if that makes sense, or don't pace with you. How do you manage that with your role or previous roles?
Yeah, it's a really fair question, and I think what I would maybe challenge back to that is when you're working maybe in the top 100 space. I think especially now with kind of the PE money that's coming in, I think actually what we're seeing now is there's almost a linear element to top 100 growth, top 250 growth, whatever you want to call it, and the SaaS, kind of, and the vendor side actually wanting to almost do similar in their growth. But that being said, look, as we know in SaaS, as we know in whatever, you've got targets to hit. They're normally ambitious targets. They want to hit a mark and they want to hit it hard. Really, for me, I've only ever focused on the relationship side of it. I think maybe I'm slightly different in how I work, but for me, I don't look at my target of like what I want to achieve. I kind of trust in my ability, trust in the relationships that I'm building, and I think actually that works so much better than pressured telling and this is what I'm going to try and do, and this is why I'm here for you. It's like, well, no, we all know the relationship. We know what both parties want to get out of it. So I think feasibly having that focus on that relationship, and again, hasn't set me wrong so far. Maybe I'll refrain and talk to you about it again in the future. But really for me, it's about, well, look, I'm putting in the effort to genuinely understand each individual account, and where are their pain points? What are they trying to achieve? Is it right for them or not? If it's not right for them, it's not right for us. You don't want a quick sale and then for them to churn in 2 months' time because it hasn't worked for them, because that's a bad experience for everybody. So really, in my head, it's about getting to know the business, getting to know the people. Is this a pain point? Is this going to work for them? If so, fantastic. If not, in my eyes, fantastic.
Okay, that's a really great answer. Thank you. I'm going to ask you some semi-personal ones now, just to mix it up a little bit.
Please do.
Oh, snap. Zoe Lacey Cooper, ZLC. She's here. She says, good afternoon, Sam and D-Rod.
Hey, Zoe.
We like Zoe. She's good people.
We love Zoe.
Also, another comment from Mark Howson, because he's on the comment fever. Thank you, Mark, by the way. This helps with impressions and engagement, so thank you for the comments. If you're looking for fireworks, Sheffield is basically the Wall Street of sparklers. Epic fireworks. Check them out. Would you say that's true?
It genuinely is. It's actually sad to comment on it. We do a fantastic fireworks show every year in November, as you would expect. But I think this year is the last year that they're doing it, just because of inflation and all these kind of things where it's just too expensive to charge. Otherwise, they'd be charging people 50 quid a head and all this kind of thing. So, but it absolutely is. There's we have things over at Don Valley. There's all sorts going on. I don't know why. It's and I'm glad that somebody's picked up on it.
Check that out, people. It's an FM exclusive, right? This is the last year you might be able to go to Sheffield and get a banging fireworks display, no pun intended. Go there now.
Please, come and join us. Come and put money into our local economy.
I want to go back several steps. You mentioned you went to University of Sheffield. What did you study?
I did. So I did my undergraduate at Sheffield Hallam University, where I did theatre. Which is
interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Well,
yeah. I wouldn't have pegged you as a theatre guy.
I can give a cool story behind it. So, did my A-levels. I didn't show up to school for my A-levels. I was very disengaged by the whole schooling process by then.
The coolest people are. I get it.
Yeah. They couldn't hold me back, you know.
Sorry, continue.
Did that. Got minimal A-levels. I got a C and an E and all this kind of atrocious. So kind of said, right, I want to go into work. Went to work for a year. Just worked in a pub. Really disliked it. So I said, no, look, I'm going to go and apply for university. Go and do a few years and do it. And I, always have very supportive parents. They said, look, go and do what you want. It doesn't matter what degree you do. Go and do something that you're going to enjoy for 3 years. 3 years is a long time.
And a lot of debt.
A lot of debt. Well, I was the last year, I think, where it was $3,000 a year rather than $9,000 a year for the.
Still a lot of debt.
Which it was still a lot of debt. But so I applied for university with my minimal A-levels through UCAS, as you do. Got given a conditional offer, even though I had the grades already, which was odd. Yeah. So called Sheffield Hallam and said, look, you've given me a conditional offer. Like, I've already put my grades on there. And rather than checking that I had the grades, which I absolutely didn't, to get into the course that was necessary, they just went, oh, that's fine. We'll just change it to unconditional then. And just changed it on UCAS. So it was kind of
it's a casual show, and I'm asking you a casual question, but the politics of that one, I want to kind of get into that a little bit. Can you see what's happened there? Like, you're the last year where it's like $3,000 a year, and they just let you go on the course anyway. Like, does that?
We don't know. It was Sheffield Hallam. But anyway, 3 years there. I really enjoyed my time. Met fantastic friends. My two best men at my wedding I met at university, and we're still very, very close now. And then did my master's degree in English literature following that. But then that led into really starting to work more in schools and getting a bit of work experience through my master's degree, and kind of went into the education side.
Okay, hence all the previous to this sector, you've been in the learning sector, right? Kind of learning development kind of stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so very much in the kind of private education world for quite a few years, and then of course made that natural transition from private education to accounting and finance.
No, I get it. We're going to jump into the comments. We're going to jump back to you and your flamboyant ways and theatrical ways in a minute. Let's need to. Josh Probate Waters asked a very good question. Sorry, Probate Waters. Sorry, Josh. I know your name. I just said it wrong. Not a probate. That's the wrong thing. Josh has asked, meal deal selection of choice. Both. I assume he's asking both of us. Will be judging you. Judge away, Josh. Do you want to go first, or shall I go first on this one?
You go first. I need to think about my drink.
I seldom have a meal deal, and if I do go to Tesco or Sainsbury's where it's like £5, I'll usually buy a microwave meal which has more protein in it than the meal deal. However, when I do have a meal deal, it might be some kind of sushi if I'm eating carbs, and Tesco specifically do a Ginster's steak and Marmite pie, which is considered a snack, but it's pretty hefty and chunky, so I get as much nutrients and calories from that meaty goodness, the sushi. And the drink, I never really drink energy drinks, so it might be a kombucha to look healthy. That or a Lipton iced tea.
Great choice. You know what? Lipton iced tea, in the past month with the heat that we've had, you can't beat a cold Lipton iced tea.
Yeah, it's got the
heat.
sweetness, but it's not too sweet. It's not it just
Yeah.
it goes down easy. It goes down easy. But yeah, don't usually eat meal deals, honest Josh. I usually try and either bring lunch because I'm trying to be frugal, or I'll just buy something like I'll buy stuff from the supermarket with more protein in it. I know I don't look like a protein guy, but I just, yeah. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah, I'm very similar. Obviously, I work fully remote, so it's very rare that I need to kind of, I'm on the move to go and grab a meal deal. I think if I have to around Sheffield, I normally have to walk past a shop called Beres, which is our kind of pork sandwich shop, of which there's about 10 around the city. I think it's just a Sheffield thing. So I would normally go there just because I can't walk past it without going in and buying something. But if I was to go, I think I would just go, just something, just like a tuna mayo sweet corn, just something super basic. Get myself, either a bottle of water. I'm a huge Capri Sun lover.
I hate Capri Suns.
Mate, it was going so well.
I know we could have been best friends, but I feel like it's just making squash and juice harder than it has to be.
Yeah, but it's something about
Also,
it.
What is it we call it Capri Sun, but we say Ford Capri?
I don't know, because I went to
it's spelled the same.
I went to Capri and they didn't have Capri Sun, so clearly it's not. Clearly that's not a thing over there. So clearly it's
Capri Sun, Ford Capri, spelled the same, but we say them differently.
Capri Sun, and then and maybe normally the whole probably a bag of crisps, or just like Monster Munch. Actually, Monster Munch pickled onion are the.
We're back on form again. You're right. It's one of the god tier flavors.
It was my daughter's birthday. She's just turned 1, and for her, well, obviously we got some presents, but I decided it was the day that she needed to try her first pickled onion Monster Munch, and she loved it. She absolutely went to town on it. So
that's such a dad thing to do, isn't it? Giving your kids some ridiculous flavor to see how they react. Remember giving my daughter a lemon for the first time. It's fantastic.
My wife does the ginger shots each morning, and Daff was like, "Oh, I really, really want to try some." So Beck was like, "Oh, I'll let her try some," and she bloody loves a ginger shot, which I wouldn't think that they would, but yeah, maybe she's just got a unique taste in food with it.
My daughter's 5, and I have foolishly raised her to have high taste standards. This kid is eating Stilton. She doesn't eat pepperonis or like cheap cheeses. She's eating like charcuterie, mortadella, expensive cuts of meat that I normally eat because I fed her off my plate, and now she loves that stuff. Her snacks are very expensive. She doesn't snack often.
That's good. That's what you want. Like, if you're going to do it, go do it properly.
Yeah. I'm going to jump back into the comments again, and then we're going to go back to your theatre days because I want to explore that a little bit more. So Zoe Lacey Cooper has answered Josh's question, meal deal selection. She has said Tesco meatball roll, nice and spicy knickknacks, and a green smoothie. Zoe, you're coming in strong with that. That's actually pretty good, especially the knickknacks. I think the knicknacks just elevated that.
Flavors going in there as well. Like I like it. A green smoothie is always good.
Yeah, but the whole just added extra instructions. But you have to put it in the air fryer to heat it up. I assume she means the meatball roll.
Yeah, not the knickknacks. No.
Or the green smoothie. And then hold on. Pickled Zoe Lacey Cooper again. Pickled onion Monster Munch is my fave. I didn't know that about you, Zoe. We can be Monster Munch buddies, me, you, and Sam.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask for some Monster Munch to be left on our stand at the next events that we do with Zoe.
So 2 silly questions: flaming hot versus pickled onion Monster Munch. Flaming hot or pickled onion? Which one wins?
Pickled onion, like for me every time. I'm not a big spice man, so pickled onion every time.
In that case, that one, pickled onion flavors, Monster Munch or Space Raiders? Pickled onion, because
I think if I was on this podcast and I was 10, I'd have said Space Raiders. But I think my adult palate has now got me firmly in the Monster Munch grip.
Mate, no judgment. We had Luke Farron on a couple of months ago, and he is a prolific crisp lover, and we spent a good 15 minutes talking about crisp, and Space Raiders were ranked S tier. So we're not going to judge it, because you're right. They're usually like 15p a packet, and it's a little bit smaller, and they're supposed to be aimed at children, but they're still delicious. And now that you're a grown-up, you can go to Tesco or Sainsbury's and buy a pack of 12 and have them all to yourself.
Mate, it's my favourite thing about being an adult is just being able to go into a shop and buying whatever you want, or, you've got nothing in for dinner, and you're like, right, I can do whatever I want. I can have cereal for dinner because I'm an adult, and it's great. I've done it. Well, not as dinner. I've had it as a snack. Josh Probert Waters, Mr. Protein over here. That's Captain Protein to you, good sir. I've been promoted. And Zoe, again, in the comments, the green smoothie may not like that. I feel like that's like an Incredible Hulk boudoir name. So I might have to start calling myself green smoothie and see if that works.
Please don't call yourself that. Right. So you did theatre studies. Sorry, drama at university. Now, that means you probably did performance, right?
Yeah, that's an accurate
So
depiction.
well, and also I know that they try and make the skill sets of the drama students more eclectic, right? So you're not just an actor. You don't just learn lines. You can probably sing, right?
Oh, minimally. I can hold a note for a couple of seconds, and then I get too carried away.
Okay. You
I
know I'm going
feel
to ask you next, right?
I know where you're going with this.
You know I'm going with this, right? Okay. What is your belter out song? The song that, you know, no one's looking. Again, no judgment. You might be in the car by yourself. You don't want your boys to know that you sing this song. What is it?
Oh, the reason that they're my boys is because they probably sing the same songs as me, I think.
I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours, honestly.
Mate, it's a good deal. It's a good deal. I'm a big Swiftie.
Oh, okay.
I can bust out some Swift, but I think probably something like Neo, like Closer, something like that, something where you can hit some notes, but also it's kind of you feel cool because you got a bit of R&B on.
Neo, okay. Wait, which track is his though? Closer, did you say?
Closer is a banger. Miss Independent, any of those, they absolutely slap.
Now, with all the questions I ask you, you are at absolute liberty to say no, Dale. I don't want to do this, and I extend this liberty to now because I'm asking a question. Would you mind busting out a few bars just for the FM crew?
Oh, absolutely not. I will. I'll do it. I'll do it privately for you.
Giggity. Okay. Since you told me yours, I'll tell you mine. Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone.
Unbelievable.
Like,
she has pipes. Like she can. I don't know if you watch her show where she gets celebrities on and sings alongside. She has serious pipes.
She's talented, and that song is well written, well executed, and I think she's one of the earlier, Pop Idol / X Factor type.
One of the first American Idol.
Yeah.
She's probably just found the best one, like on the first season, and then carried it on for 20 or so seasons.
Like it's an absolute banger. Right.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
So I hear that on the radio sometimes, and I'm in the car, and I might be suited and booted for work. By the way, I might be wearing like a shirt and a tie, looking good. Come back from a client, and you'll see me like, "Since you've been gone," I'll be doing that.
Yeah, it's honestly, I'm just wherever I can. If I'm just in the car on my own, if I'm in the shower, wherever I am, I will have some form of music on that I can be singing along to. And I think my wife gets sick of hearing it, to be honest.
Controversial opinion, my statement, not yours. Why is it theatre people love musical theatre so much? I don't like musicals. Well, actually, I like some musicals, but I feel like a lot of musicals are overplayed. Like, why the hell are you singing right now? Just say the lines. Yeah,
well, it would be useful to know what musicals that you like. So, because they're quite eclectic now.
I would. This is me being snobbish and possibly ageist. I like some of the older musicals. So, Les Mis, I think it's well written. I think the music's incredible, and the songs kind of make sense. Now, if you take and then if you take more modern ones, right? It's kind of stupid. A TV show called Empire. It's kind of like a musical TV show. That makes sense. But High School Musical is the worst thing I've ever seen.
The thing is, right? I am just such a pop head. Like for me, High School Musical is like I can say logically that it's bad.
It's trash.
But I absolutely love it. Do I know every song? Yes. I don't know if you saw the viral clip of the guy doing the High School Musical questions on Mastermind a couple of weeks ago. I was well involved in answering quite a few of those.
Okay.
High School Musical is like TV, like musical, right? Like it's kind of like that kind of like trash kids focus. You get things now like Book of Mormon. Like if you've ever seen Book of Mormon, or if
I've seen the South Park episode it was based upon.
Yeah, so it's written by the South Park creators. Obviously South Park the movie itself is a musical, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. I think there's just I think obviously they get involved in it, don't they? Kind of theatre people quite early on. You'll often do Amdram and you'll do things like that, so you're probably exposed to it quite early on. Whereas maybe as an adult, kind of looking down upon it, it's maybe a different viewpoint. But no, you can't beat a good like Broadway, West End. Like I said, I went and did Book of Mormon on Broadway when we were over there a couple of years ago, and it was.
So you were in it, or you went to watch it?
No, went to watch it.
Okay.
No, God no, I wasn't in it. But it was.
So you said that so casually. If you were in it, I was like, "Good Lord, you're very, very talented."
No, I did a couple of stage shows when I was kind of younger, coming out of university, and that was enough for me. But it was one of those where I'm a bit too maybe safe in my outlook. But I need a stable income coming in, and I think I've got friends who went to drama school and went off and did that and still do it now, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for them, because they work 3 jobs all to make their kind of dream career happen, and I think it's absolutely incredible.
What is your proudest performance?
Oh,
where you absolutely nailed it? You were the character, you embodied it, or you sang well. You're just like, yeah, I nailed this, and people validated it as well. You're like, oh, cool, thanks. Like, what's your proudest performance?
Yeah, but I did one
other than selling people RQ. But I'm sorry, that's harsh.
The performance of my life. I would probably go with I just come out of university and I did a professional show on the Crucible in Sheffield, which is kind of the most popular. I've been told it's the most popular theatre outside of London in terms of attendees, which is very
quite
cool.
famous. Yeah.
So I did a show there called John Steele and Family, which was commissioned about I think it was so many years of steel manufacture in Sheffield. Professional cast, and basically had a role where I was on stage for the whole 2 hours in some form, and that was probably my most enjoyable character and performance. It was it was really fun to do. We did a couple of weeks run, really, really cool.
Cool. You know how I can be a bit of a dickhead sometimes. Same question in reverse. What's your least proud performance?
Oh,
the one that makes you cringe, the one that you wouldn't tell your wife before you met her, and now she knows you. You've told her because you've locked in. I
probably still wouldn't tell her. She's don't want to get ready.
Tell us. We won't tell anyone. Just me and the FM audience. Come on, tell us.
I've probably less about the performances, but more about, obviously you have to audition, and I did a couple of auditions. I did one for The Sound of Music, and you had to sing and dance, and as I said, I can kind of hold a note. I would give myself like a solid 6 out of 10 for that.
Prove it.
I absolutely not. I cannot, like, my dancing. I cannot dance to say it for the life of me, and I don't know why I went to this audition, because they were very clear it was a singing and dancing part, and I was I think I left after 10 minutes because I was just like, I cannot put myself or them through this performance.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. All right, I'm going to have to ask a Tony question in his honor. I can't do quick fire because I haven't made a list of what he asked people. I should have made a list by now, to be honest, but I haven't. So, Sam, you said you work remotely. Occasionally you're out and about seeing clients. You're out and about. Sorry, the preface for this question is, do you drink coffee?
No. I don't. So my wife says I don't drink coffee and I don't drink alcohol, and she doesn't quite know how I get through a week.
No shame in that.
But I'm conscious of what will be coming, and I'll still go and get I'll go and get a hot chocolate. I'll go and get these kind of things, So
okay, so I'll frame it differently. So I assume you drink a soda pop / fizzy drinks.
Yeah.
Out and about, you've got to grab your generic go-to fizzy drink while you're on the road. What are you drinking?
Recently, actually, I've been going for the Lucozade orange fizzy energy drink, just the old school, and that is just a solid drink. Tastes good, gives you the energy if you need it. I tried a Red Bull a couple of weeks ago because I haven't touched Red Bull in years and years, and I thought it felt like it sent me a little bit wappy. So I'm going to stick on the Lucozade orange, I think.
Yeah, man, if you don't drink tea or coffee regularly and going straight to a Red Bull, that's going to make you have heart palpitations for sure. Did your parents ever give you Lucozade as medicine when you were a kid?
I don't think so. I remember. I don't know if you remember. Like, you used to be able to get like the Lucozade tablets as well. They were sort of like sweet. So I don't know if they were ever any good for you, or if they were just pure unadulterated sugar. But no, I don't think I ever got it as a medicine.
Maybe that's just my parents. I've just shared too much. Maybe I was neglected as a child. It should have been Calpol, but they gave me Lucozade instead.
It's good that we can talk about it openly on a podcast like this. It's good to share.
They know I stitch them up all the time. It's fine. Also, I don't even know about me, but my sister, she's a radio presenter for Reels. She works for the BBC. She stitches them up royally to tens of millions of viewers, listeners. It's hilarious. It's great.
I didn't know that. That's really, really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, enough about me. This is about you. Let's bring it back to work. Who is the coolest person you've worked with in the accounting / fintech space over the last couple of years?
Who's the coolest? That's a really good question.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, we work with some pretty cool people. I'm trying to think about people who, you know what, I'm a huge fan of like John Toon over
Mhm.
at Beaver and Struthers. I just feel like he's a really cool guy. He's everywhere. He's on every podcast. He knows everything about
He does.
tech, and so someone probably like John, who is. I think it's really cool when someone's really good at their job.
He
And I
is
think
that guy.
I love him. Love Ryan Pierce. Love what they're doing over there. So yeah, I mean, probably someone like them, where they are just excellent at their jobs. They understand the sector and they're kind of thought leaders in what they're doing. I think they're probably the coolest guys who we've probably come across.
Are you trying to sell to Beavers and Struthers right now?
Oh, every day. They're really proud partner of ours, Beaver and Struthers. They've been very, very nice to us.
Look, man, we'll clip that up as well. I can send that to your boss and the investors. And that's literally live. Just like Beavers and Struthers work with us. Like it's gold to pulling out. It's gold, sales material gold. Okay.
I'm sure I can share that we work with them. I think we put them on our banners at Accountex. I'm sure it's fine.
I don't know. I didn't sign the NDA. What advice would you give to a non-accountant working in this industry? Like, any things you've discovered or found out any disillusions that you may have come across?
Honestly, the main thing for me always, and I mentioned it earlier on in terms of how I work, is just listen and learn as much as you possibly can. I think so often, especially if you're in the SaaS or in the vendor space, you go in and they train you and they say, right, this is the reason why we are the best product for accountants to use, or this is blah blah blah. But actually, until you actually speak to people and understand them and understand where they fit, you'll work out very quickly that you absolutely will be the right solution for someone, just absolutely not everybody. So I think just that listening and learning, again, being a non-accountant, having that non-accountancy financial background, I had to learn very, very quickly. But a lot of that came down to just the effort and time that you put in to ensure that you are, even setting up a conversation, saying, look, this isn't about me. This is very much about you. And if I can, selfishly learn something in this time, then it will hopefully benefit me wider.
That's solid advice. Changing gears a little bit, from a vendor perspective / personal perspective, what are your thoughts on AI in general, and what are your thoughts about AI in the bookkeeping and accounting space?
Yeah, it's AI is. I think everybody has a different interpretation of what AI means, which then leads them to either think it's the coolest thing ever, the scariest thing ever. Some people will watch like iRobot and be like, oh, the future is coming. Feasibly, AI is only positive. It's in my understanding, it's since the industrial revolution, this is kind of the new element, or probably since the internet, maybe, in terms of kind of the biggest change in terms of our day to day. In terms of what I see from it, in terms of the accountancy world at the minute, it feels like it's still very basic. But what I feel like is people are rushing to say that they have an AI feature, which is probably, in the nice possible way, probably a minimal viable product, just to be able to say we're using AI in some way. I would think in maybe 2-3 years' time, we're going to get the full feel of it. I think, over the next year or so, it's going to be very much kind of people dipping their toe. Does this work? We're starting to see features already coming through. I know we're doing the same at RQ. We don't have any AI currently built in, but we're starting to look at automation and go, right, well, how can this now take that next step? But again, with that, it's about, AI, as we know, learns quickly. So I think there will be some, it's going to be incredible for the industry. I think people start to say, oh, well, it's going to be an accountants do, lean towards more advisory. It's like, well, they've always done advisory. It's they'll probably be doing a little bit more of it, but feasibly, I don't think their job's going to look too different, other than they can just automate a few processes, include AI in a few processes. I don't think it's going to, revolutionize initially. So yeah, but maybe I'm glass half full on it, but I think because you hear about it and see about it every single day on LinkedIn, in the news and things like that, I think, well, maybe just I'm waiting to see something where people genuinely go, this has dramatically changed what I do on a day-to-day basis.
I kind of agree with you and kind of disagree. We'll leave it at that. Although there is a question I'd like to answer, picking up on something you mentioned. RQ doesn't have AI just yet. Are you allowed to tell me some of the AI plans RQ has, or is that top secret right now?
There's some top secret stuff going on, which I can't disclose. But I think if I can give you maybe an image of what we're currently doing in an area that we're looking at. So with RQ, and I mentioned earlier on to you about can we get quicker than an email, right? That's the thought process. So we've got our Outlook integration add-in that's currently there. So it obviously tracks the emails that are going through. Something that we're really focusing on is, well, actually, could your emails pick up on if there is a referral opportunity there? So based on the language that you're using, actually, can that automatically pick up and flow through and create that referral for you? And we've actually got elements of that in terms of just at the moment it's things like word recognition. So actually and actually just pop up to say this looks like a referral. Is this? Do you want to log this? The whole idea is, can we have that feeling of a compliance officer in your pocket at all times, so that you know that you are being compliant in the work that you're doing, and enabling accountants to open up not only to partners but to client-facing staff, being able to make referrals and knowing that everybody is doing it in the exact same way. And I think that's probably where we'll focus the AI piece on of, well, how can we utilize that data to then drive and learn about the language of referrals, how people are referring, and how we can then flow that through into our software.
Okay. You mentioned compliance a few times regarding RQ. I'm going to ask you a really dumb question. How does RQ kind of make you more compliant, or how does it help with compliance? What problem does it solve in that regard?
Yeah, so I mean, effectively, irregardless of your regulatory body, ICAW, ACCA, whoever you are, you have a code of ethics to adhere to as an accountant, and
unfortunately, so you can't just move that. You can't just move that money around.
Exactly, and referrals, there's a lot of grey area, I think, when it comes to referrals sometimes in terms of that process and what that looks like. So the reason that we have the partnership with the ICAW effectively is to codify that rule book. So everything on the RQ platform has been built literally with the ICAW ticking and saying, yep, right, this works, this is what we envisage, this is what it needs to be. So effectively, the compliance side is, well, okay, if I'm using this system, it has put me on rails here through this code of ethics where I can't steer off to be non-compliant. So effectively, it gives you that foundation of compliance in terms of, well, I know that I can't really go wrong if I'm using this system, but then will ultimately still fall upon you to ensure that you are engaging, with the correct partners, things like that. But due diligence is a huge part of that as well. So we do that due diligence on a daily basis through the platform. So any partners you have on there, we run them against, the FCA, Companies House, and because a lot of accountants will do their due diligence when they initially find a referral partner, for the majority of the time. But that ongoing due diligence is as important, if not more important, to ensure that you are continuing to send your clients to the appropriate bodies when it comes to referrals.
That's a really great answer. Thank you for clearing that up. I'm sure other people knew that already. I just asked daft questions because if I don't ask, then I don't know. I realize I've been firing off questions to you. Do you have any questions for me?
I you know what, when I start to kind of get to know people more, I always have one question, and again, I alluded to it earlier on, but I always ask people what their favorite film is, because I think knowing what your favorite film is gives me an interpretation of the person that you are.
Immediate thought was Get Shorty.
Yep, great.
I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's like a John Travolta film. It's based on, I think, The Merchant of Venice, and he kind of plays a Shylock. It's a 1995 film. It's one of the first films, in my mind, in my memory, to be kind of semi-meta in terms of the story. So really enjoy that film.
Really, that's a great answer. You know what? I don't think anybody's ever said Get Shorty before, and it's actually a solid film.
There's so many good films and so many amazing films that I like. I love The Godfather. I came into it late. I watched it years after everyone else. I watched Pulp Fiction after everyone else. These acclaimed films are acclaimed for a reason. From Dusk Till Dawn, I really like the ending of that, like most guys, because you're a Tarantino fan. But there's so many great films out there. And I'll be honest, this is probably for nostalgia purposes. Any 90s or pre-90s Disney film, I still enjoy.
Oh, I think the joy now, and you'll have had it, I'm sure, with having a child, is the kind of the excuse to sit down with them and try and get them to watch these films. You go, oh, watch this, and secretly you're just like, I really want to watch this film anyway.
People can quote me on this. I've been saying this. So I'm a huge Marvel, DC comic book fan, as was my dad. He's the one that got me into it. My daughter and I watched a show called Teen Titans Go. It is the perfect little cartoon for anyone under the age of 10 to just silly stuff, but introduce them to the DC universe. You got Robin, you got Cyborg, Starfire, all these characters, and I watch it for me/her.
Well, I find that like these shows kind of they hold up for adults as well, right? They'll kind of throw in a few kind of throwaway lines, which are kind of you kind of like, oh, what's
There's a whole Star Wars versus Star Trek episode. This little punk has never seen either of those shows. The references are for me. She's enjoying the silliness. I'm enjoying the joke of Star Wars versus Star Trek in one cartoonish episode.
amazing?
It's incredible.
If you had to pick between only engaging with Marvel or DC, which would you choose?
Marvel, only because I know it better. I own more Marvel comics. I've got a few DC comics, but I know it better. The MCU's been done better.
Yeah,
the
I'm
Marvel
hoping
TV show's been better.
James Gunn. You know, I really enjoyed the latest Superman, and I need to get on Peacemaker because I've read really good things about that. But I'm hoping that James Gunn kind of revitalizes this DC universe and puts it back on some form of par.
If they made, I don't know if you've read any of the DC comics, if they made Superman Red Sun, all right, and I'll give a slight spoiler. It's basically Superman, but he lands like 3 days earlier, so he's in Russia instead of America, which obviously changes his personality. Great story. If they made that as a film, incredible. And anyone who's only watched any DC animated films, that's where the good stories are at. If you watch a DC animated film, whether a grown-up or, an adult, real grown-ups don't call themselves grown-ups, you get some actually good cinematography in there, so I would recommend DC animated films. The Flashpoint film, incredible.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Do I have any other questions?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? You've had some already incredible guests on. Do you have a guest that you're most proud of that has already come on the show, and is there any spoilers about who you're excited about coming up, or is that strictly forbidden?
No. It's a really tough question to answer because the show's been going on for almost 3 years now, like some 150 episodes almost. So I've spoken to some really amazing people, and it's hard to choose. And there's different categories. So the one that pops out to my head often when people ask me is probably not the most famous episode. What's his name? That was really bad. I should know it. Hold on. Well, I can remember his moniker, Purple Fedora. I want to say Gareth Wax. Is it Gareth Wax? Yeah, Gareth Wax. Okay, so he came on. He's been on the show 3 times. Second time he came on, he talked about one of his enterprises about mycelial work. So mycelia is like the roots of mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
And John Toome was in the audience and a few others. That show became half an hour of mushroom puns, no joke. So that sticks in my memory. And then if we're talking about like people with clout in our industry, or getting Sabby Gill, getting Zero on the show, like that's insane.
Yeah,
like, they're people who are just stupidly busy, who took an hour of their day to chat to me. Not saying you're not as important, but
I put myself on like the third tier at least, if not fourth tier. You've had some absolutely epic people, which is again it's great to see like the direction the show's going and like who you've had on. Like even seeing like I know Lucy Cohen was on a few weeks ago, and like hearing her insights and her experience was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean Ash Gibson from Zero, she was great. She was talking about marketing. I asked her loads of questions about marketing in general, bearing in mind she's not a generalist, she's a specialist. She was very well humoured about it. Alex von Shawmaster, I broke the fourth wall on that one. I asked him the question, which kid is your favourite? And he refused to answer. I then probed deeper and said, okay, you've got an older daughter who's 23 and his son's like 16 or something like that. And I looked in the camera and said, son, you're the least favourite. You're a burden to your father. I hope you watched it. It's true. There's so many standout episodes. Man, last week was fun. Again, Luke Farron was cool. I don't know. Even Tony as a guest was pretty fun. I honestly can't choose. Mark Lee, he sticks out in my mind as well. So he's one of the guys that
Mark's like again his knowledge and experience.
Yeah, he's been in the game a while, and he just uses his knowledge to help everybody. Great guy. Had Ryan on.
Wasn't he like the children's entertainer backstory as well, which was absolutely incredible?
Yeah, he does magic. He does magic. Every time I see him, I'm like, please do a trick. He's like, yeah, cool. We had Lee Stallard he's in the comments. There we go. Hello, Lee. Look at that. Speak of him, and he shall appear. Lee Stallard. The animated Batman series is incredible. Correct, Lee. You are 100% correct. Lee Stallard, the 90s, Kevin Conroy, and Mark Hamill. Correct. When people ask me who is the best Batman, and they think of some people say like Val Kilmer, George Clooney, I'm like, nah, it's Kevin Conroy. Sorry, I digress. So I had some really great people on the show. It's hard to choose. You've been really great as well, by the way, because we're wrapping up.
Oh yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed my time, and appreciate being invited and being on the other side of the screen. But
I'm only nice the first time, by the way. The second time, I'll be asking you pure grilling questions. Pure grilling.
Absolutely.
Like,
I thought you would grill me harder on take one. So
if I grilled you now, no one else would come on the show. Like, no, like only fools get interviewed by Jeremy Paxman. You know what you're going to get, especially if you're like a public figure. Like, why would you? You know what he's about.
yeah,
So if I was like a imitation Paxman, like no one would ever go on the show. I'm tempted sometimes. Call out some nonsense.
yeah, but yeah, I think maybe second time, and just drill down hard.
Yeah, see, Zoe Lucy Cooper agrees. I love how I always say her name, not just Zoe or ZLC. Lucy Cohen is a legend. She was fantastic on the show.
Barrel, you have to say the full name. That's the rules.
Yeah. Cool. So with that said, the final question is: do you have any pearls of wisdom or nuggets that you kind of want to share as like a one-liner or a mini statement as I hit end stream?
No, just be nice to each other. Let's end positively.
I'm not angry, just disappointed.